I don't know what's wrong with me, I think I'm turning into a bug. I see double what I see, I think I'm turning into a bug. I ain't got no self-esteem, I think I'm turning into a bug. Bet you $50 I'm a man, I'm a scholar, I'm turning into a bug. Mama like a daddy, like a baby, like a baby, like a turn into a bug. Yeah!
Mutants this week on Destructomundo.
It's on, it's on. There's no sound. Play with the rabbit ears.
Hit reports, incredible as they seem, are not the results of mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria. How do they think we're imagining all this?
Destructomundo. Witnesses to the effect that people who acted as though they were in a kind of trance were killing and eating their victims prompted authorities to examine the bodies of some of the victims. Medical authorities in Cumberland have concluded that in all cases the killers are eating flesh. People they murdered. Repeating this, latest bulletin does receive orders from Cumberland Town. Soon defense authorities have told you that murder victims show evidence of having been partially devoured by their murderers.
Mutants.
Mutants.
Oh my god.
El Mutanto. Man, there's this guy in high school, his nickname was Mutant.
You know a guy's got to be like pretty bad off to be nicknamed Mutant. Probably
He's a pretty good guy. I mean, he was from Portland, and he works at the Louisville Main Public Library now, actually.
Really?
In the mutant department?
Yeah.
Well,
Mutants.
mutants.
No, we're not talking about like you know,
Weapon X and
yeah, X-Men mutants.
No.
No.
None of that type of mutant.
No.
We're talking like
The Hills
fuck
Have
your
Eyes.
sister mutants.
We're talking
Well,
about
those kind of mutants. I mean, they're all of them have like powers that are good.
yeah, we're talking
you
about
know.
like just the creepy, scary, inbred cannibal.
None of them had the power where you could be. They were like, you know, one eye was looking forward and the other eye was looking to the right.
Yeah.
That's your mutant power.
Yeah, that you can look around corners because your eyeball's like on the side of your head.
And when you talk to them, you don't know which eye to look in. It's like,
Right,
are they
right.
looking at me?
Yeah.
One ear's really big.
And you've only got like one webbed hand, so I can't. It's not like I can swim really well because I've only got one
Well,
webbed
they'd swim
hand.
in a circle.
I can dog paddle, but I tend to pull to the left. 'Cause it's just so that type of mutant.
No, they all had like great mutant powers, you know.
Yeah, none of those type of mutants. About the
We're talking about the scary ones when your car breaks down in West Virginia or someplace
You see, yeah,
in the outback.
You never take the shortcut.
Of Australia, there's
Never
always like-
get off the main road to take the shortcut.
No, you can't do that because if you do that, you're screwed. That's just basic stuff right there.
Yes,
Yep.
because they're out there,
Shotguns and crossbows.
and they're they're inbred mutants or the radiation mutants or toxic waste mutants.
Yeah. So what
Or just,
exactly is bringing on mutant like traits? I mean, is it? I mean, you
Well,
can
obviously you can
breed
get all
mutant
kinds of
traits.
stuff.
So if
Yeah.
you start like incestuous relations, you can get plenty of mutant traits over a period of time, especially if you continue to.
Yeah, you got to have the obviously mutation's part of evolution, but when you get high concentrated mutation, where it gets more dramatic. I mean, slight, minute mutation is part of evolution, but concentrated mutation, then you can start to get freaky shit going on.
Yeah. And then you start to see like people born with 3 eyes, and well, I don't know about 3 eyes, but
Maybe
One eye.
one eye,
One eye is more common.
right?
Yeah, I saw some. There was this clinic it was in Kazakhstan. They had a bunch of like copper mines or something that they had mined out, so that the Soviets decided to test a bunch of nuclear weapons in them. So they had this clinic near this population center. I don't remember in any way what name it was, but the clinic wasn't to treat people; it was just to study all the crap that happened to them because of all these underground nuclear tests that they were doing. And they had like the stillborn fetus in a jar, and it just had one eye right in the middle of its face.
There was a cat. Did you see the cat that was
Yeah.
born? And they did the paintings of it, and it was all like, deified almost, but the one-eyed cat, man, that was the coolest looking thing. I thought that was Photoshopped so bad, though. I mean, like, there's no way. I was like, it doesn't even have a nose. It's just, because it looked like it was one big eye, and then like a little mouth, and it had like, kind of like missing fur in the mouth and little teeth, and it didn't have a nose. And then they had like pictures of it, like that people had painted, and it was like, like look kind of like Buddha. Only it was sitting there with the
I didn't see those. I
eye.
saw the actual.
Well, that doesn't sound dangerous, though.
No, but I mean,
dangerous
if it got
mutant.
really
No,
big,
stuff like that because they don't.
If it was like a jungle cat, it didn't live very long. But think about like if a tiger was born all
Well, it wouldn't
one-eyed.
have any
and
depth.
Well, I mean, it would have. Yeah,
one-eyed.
exactly.
It'd like launch at you, and
You'd stand in front of it and go, "Come on, come on, come on!"
right? It doesn't know
I
depth
can't
perception.
see
It jumps at you and dives into the tree.
Yeah.
But no, I guess obviously you've got. When stuff gets, if something mutates and gets giant, but I don't know. That's probably a problem. But obviously, people, mutant people are and I say we have a high reproductive rate, which that
Yeah,
tends
we're
to,
not limited.
if
by,
you
like,
get
seasonal.
if you get
lust.
if you do get significant mutation in an individual, obviously we have a high reproductive rate, and people like to do it, so they're going to pass on their mutation.
I've
What
heard
do they like to do? I'm not sure if I understand.
So it's
Are they mommy? Are they fighting?
when a daddy mutant and a mommy mutant really love each other, they
go after
and
the
they
cousin.
decide that they want to make a baby mutant.
They wrestle.
They do
They
this.
fight for domination.
They do this special dance.
And when
Where
mommy and
daddy-
daddy have the
where-
same parents, it's a special fight.
They do this.
Okay.
They do this
Uncle
special.
Dad.
They do this special dance where they show their love to each other,
Okay.
and then God gives them a baby mutant.
That has blue skin, no hair, big ears,
And
no
they,
eyebrows, no eyelashes,
yes, and they raise
and
it
is
on.
very proficient with a battle axe or a crossbow.
and they raise it on raw human flesh. As
Oh.
soon as it's weaned off of mommy's mutant.
And they eat other people, don't they?
Yes, I think cannibalism is like an inherent side effect of mutation. Pretty much,
Right,
you're
right.
guaranteed you're going to want human flesh.
Right. If you're
Or
diddling your
is
sister, you're going to get
Cannibalism, the
flesh.
cause of mutation.
Ah, well, I guess if
Either way,
if you eat a mutant, can you become? I mean, you're obviously you're not going to.
It's what you've had taste for since you were young. I mean, people really gravitate towards what they had a taste for when they were young, like macaroni and cheese. Like that was my favorite food when I was a kid, and I love the macaroni and cheese now. If it was human flesh, I could see myself like, man, I really want some human flesh today.
I don't know.
long pig,
Right?
long pig.
Is that what they call it? Long pig.
Apparently, that's a translation from like some
It's
headhunter society.
like Papuan or something.
Yeah.
Papua New Guinean.
It's like the translation from
Speaking
from
of
human
which-
meets long pig.
Did anybody see the Stone Age tribe in the Indian Ocean that killed the two guys? I didn't even know there was a Stone Age tribe left on this earth.
No.
It's
Was it the same tribe after the tsunami that was shooting arrows at the helicopter?
Yes. They're called the Sentinelese. It's the Sentinel Islands, which is this tiny group of islands inside the Andamans and Nicobars, which is in the Indian Ocean. They're the last known full-on pre-Neolithic Stone fucking Age tribe on Earth. Nobody goes on this island because you get close, they start shooting arrows at you. Everybody that's
Where
ever
in the Indian Ocean?
It's like
Between
not-
Sri Lanka and Indonesia, or
no, it's the other way. It's south.
on the African
West.
side?
It's southwest of the Indian subcontinent. I believe the Andamans and Nicobars are on that side. But recently, there's a group of islands near it. Also, other parts of the Andaman and Nicobars are okay. There's people there. But these group of the Sentinel Islands, said there was like 50 to 200 of these people, the Sentinelese, and nobody goes there because you get close to the islands, they start shooting arrows at you, and everybody but these guys were poaching mud crabs on an adjoining island, and when the sun went down, they stopped and probably got drunk for the night and slept in their boats. Boats came untied, drifted over to the Sentinel Islands, and when they found them there, they killed them on the beach that morning. And then, the Indian Navy sent in helicopters and the helicopters got down close to the things, and the guys all came out of the jungle shooting arrows at the helicopters, and the downwash from the helicopters like cleared away enough debris they saw like 2 shallow graves on the beach. But I did not know.
So they had buried them after they'd killed them?
Yeah.
Yeah, the same thing happened after the tsunami last year or the year before last. The Indian army went looking for these people to see if they had survived the tsunami, and when the helicopters were flying over the trees, they were getting shot at by arrows.
Let me just open up with the GPMG.
It was amazing.
That's Stone Age drives.
I didn't realize there was anything like that. They were like.
That's when I first heard about those guys.
Yeah,
it was right after the tsunami.
They killed a couple of dudes.
They were trying to find out how many of them, if any of them had survived, and they all survived. They climbed up in trees.
So did anybody get the email I sent you guys about the Smithsonian magazine article about the cargo cult?
Oh, the cargo cult.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's great. This has got the people that are from. They lived on the islands in the South Pacific during World War II, and they never really got visited by anybody. And then when World War II was going on, they got turned into air bases by the Americans, and they brought all of this stuff to them. And of course, they'd never seen any of it, so they couldn't understand where it was coming from. So they thought that they were gods. And they were bringing in jeeps and motorcycles and building buildings, and they had Coca-Cola, and all kinds of stuff. And then they left, of course, after World War II was over. And then basically they keep thinking that if they clear airfields and make and some of them, they were talking about this article. They were basically dressing up like Navy soldiers, like sailors, and walking around. During one day of the year, it was John Broom Day, or it was
He lived in a volcano,
right? He lived in a volcano, and he would come from.
And there
America.
was that prophet guy, Prophet Pete or something.
Prophet Fred.
Yeah.
Prophet Fred, and he had made an offshoot religion to where
Yeah.
Well, they're not really mutants, though.
No, that doesn't.
But it's slightly off topic. But the concept
it's
of
an isolated society.
But people still this day, I was going to say that level of isolation is still possible.
Sure, and it's possible here in this country as well.
Because I didn't realize.
Very possible in this state.
Sure, we live in Kentucky, and we have a rich history.
There's plenty of Appalachian
love.
I mean, that's what the whole blue people thing came from in Appalachia.
Right.
Is people inbred so much that their skin is so white that it's almost blue,
right?
Because of all the veins and stuff under the skin because it's so thin.
And they're Scotsmen.
They used to be.
And they were
before the transformation.
Crossbreeding with the kobolds deep inside the mountains.
Or was the
it's
Migo?
the Migo.
The Migo visit them on the mountaintop.
Yes, and they do the dance at night.
I kind of looked for that Cthulhu comic book.
Get the Innsmouth look.
Yeah, with the web feet and the gills.
See, that's classic mutant.
We can't even talk about that though. That's for another episode.
Okay.
We can't. So stay tuned to our show.
But yeah, but certain. I mean, obviously, the possibility of that sort of thing is perhaps limited. Hopefully not, because it would be cool.
Right.
But whether through radioactive, mutants.
You can get
toxic waste mutants. But if you've got a community and that sort of thing gets introduced in, the isolated rural thing, or and then it becomes concentrated because it's an isolated community.
Right.
So it gets introduced. They don't necessarily don't understand it. It doesn't get treated, doesn't get dealt with. You get this weird,
or it's seen as a special trait that's actually things that would normally be considered a unwanted trait start to become wanted. It's just it has to do with cultural differences. If they consider someone to be,
touched.
maybe touched by God, in a special way, different to the point.
God gave me these blippers.
Or the ghetto booty.
Right. Giant ghetto booty mutation.
That's
my kind of mutation, man.
The junk?
Yeah, if you got extra junk in the trunk, I don't know. I'm not saying one or the other.
It probably is.
It's
that's the thing.
I don't know if it's a dangerous
that's what I mean.
mutation,
The term mutation has a negative connotation to it.
Right,
in
because most of the
usage.
time mutations
But like I said,
are negative.
mutation is a purely random thing. And in normal evolutionary processes, mutations are incredibly small changes. And evolution happens by small amounts of mutation over large periods of time.
Yeah, it's like blue eyes and things
so, I mean,
like that.
Mutation is a purely random thing, you know. It just has a negative connotation. So it's only it's only noticeable, you know, like when you get large levels of mutation within a short number of generations. That's what's abnormal.
Right.
And that's when you usually have like massive amounts of genetic damage to individuals, you know, most, you know, from radiation or whatever, or you can get it from, I guess, chemicals being introduced into, you know, what's that stuff that was causing well, there's DDT, obviously what it did to, like, with bald eagles, you know, when it gets
Oh, sure.
And there's having trouble now with, I don't know if anybody saw it, but there's a large number of polar bears coming out hermaphroditic now because of toxic levels of some certain chemical and it's weird because they're the top of the food chain, and it's worked its way through the food chain up to the polar bears. It's some weird something that's in like a lot of plastics or something.
Through fish?
But it's coming through, I guess it goes through the ground into the water, makes it into the water, into fish. Certain things eat the fish.
So it's the Canadians' fault?
Yes. Seals eat the fish, the polar bears eat the seals. But they're finding a freakishly large number of polar bears. Not like
maybe they're eating,
not like 80% of them, but it's weird. It's a noticeable thing.
Maybe they're eating the penguins like in that Coca-Cola commercial, like that weird bowl where they're going through the hollow earth and coming out on the other side and eating penguins.
Yeah, they slide through the hollow earth.
Slide through the hollow earth and come out the other side with the penguins.
Eat some penguins and then
go slide back through
to the North Pole. But I mean, you can get.
Well, I mean, that path, like past the core of the Earth, probably has something to do with it. Too.
Yeah, it could be the radiation from the interior sun.
Yeah.
What's what they use that as the.
And they're drugged by the hollow earthers too.
Yeah.
Right. Wow, that's incredibly off topic. Wow.
But I mean, I was going to say that's a chemical type of mutation. Are you getting toxic, dangerous chemicals introduced into the system?
Yeah, hermaphroditic traits are definitely a mutation.
And usually, hermaphrodites are almost always sterile.
Right, because the complexity of having two sexes is oftentimes you can't have ovaries and testicles, because testicles are generally considered. They're ovaries on the outside.
There's those weird fish that like change spontaneously.
A lot of
some amphibians do
that. Well, frogs,
as we
change,
all learned in Jurassic Park.
That's right.
They just decided
you shouldn't have used frog DNA. Now they're going to change into girls, and
because they just
change into boys.
As adults, they do it.
Right.
But I say that's like, so you can get mutation from, obviously people think of radiation and all the 50s giant tarantula movies, but
of course, and that's the best stuff. Got to start with the giant tarantulas and giant ants,
grasshoppers,
the deadly mantis,
classic,
Attack of the Leeches,
Night of the Lepus.
Night of the Lepus. Oh, you can't get a better movie.
Well, the giant Gila monster too.
The giant Gila monster.
Yeah, but giant rabbits.
The rabbits, they're dangerous.
Yeah, I mean they were chewing like through the fences, and that was an Australian one, wasn't it? Wasn't that an Australia?
Lepus? No, that had DeForest Kelly in it.
Yeah, but it wasn't Night of the Lepus. Didn't that take place in Australia?
No, it's out west.
I've never seen it sober, so I don't.
No, it's somewhere out west.
No, maybe I'm thinking of the whole problem they had with rabbits, because they had the rabbits.
It's somewhere out west
introduced in Australia.
The land is all.
Well, they had like a mouse plague in Australia a few years ago.
But
I'm sure our Australian listeners will tell us about that.
The Night of the Lepus, are they? What is it that makes them giant? Is it some experiment?
There's Food of the Gods, which is the movie about the giant mice and rabbits and squirrels and stuff, because they made the giant food, like the vegetables, and then the animals ate it,
and they
mutated and turned into giant hedgehogs or whatever they were. They were rodents.
Yes.
That was Food of the Gods. Night of the Lepus, I can't remember what. The rabbits got big.
I don't remember. And there's
too many carrots.
Beginning of the End with Peter Graves. That's one with the giant grasshoppers.
That's the grasshoppers.
Attack Chicago.
Yeah.
Movie with William Shatner and the giant bugs.
That's Empire of the Ants.
Yeah.
And them.
Them's better than Empire
Yeah,
of the Ants.
Them
but
is
I've never
actually
seen that.
Them is a really good movie.
Oh, sure.
Them is freakishly well done for a 50s giant bug movie.
Nuclear test.
Because the Empire of the Ants had the
insects.
chick from Dallas in it. Or no,
It's Joan Collins.
Joan Collins.
Then the Deadly Mantis, the one with the giant praying mantis. That's a bad one. Giant Gila monster's terrible.
Oh, man.
Oh, it's a horrible
What's the
movie.
one with the giant the giant black scorpion one down in Mexico?
Oh, shit. Yeah, I know exactly what
That's
you're talking
terrible
about.
too. But yeah, most of those are radioactive mutants, giant. Like,
So that's what happens when you test
and then
atomic
there's
weapons out in the
Attack of the
desert.
50-Foot Woman and the Amazing Colossal Man. Those
That's
are
right.
giant people
That's right.
from radiation.
Attack of the 50-Foot Woman is a classic, too. Because then you have the whole, like, XY factor as well. You have, like, the woman in a... Because back then it was a gender role that was,
But it's
you had the woman...
I wish somebody'd make like a triple X version of that.
Wow. And with today's
like insert your whole
technology,
body.
film technology, wow.
You could just dive in.
Can I live in your pocket?
Um,
Can I live in your
Somebody's
pants?
parents that we both know had a X-rated little comic book that was about that.
The X-rated Attack of the 50-Foot
Well, it
Woman?
wasn't necessarily the attack. It was more like Jack and the Beanstalk, but it was an X-rated. Jack.
Wait a second. This isn't Aaron's parents, is it?
Yeah, well, I was
Okay.
going to say that. But yeah.
Okay.
Aaron, we
But,
love you. Yeah, is he listening? Does Aaron listen to the show?
You know,
Anybody
he's on
talk to Aaron?
MySpace now because I just
Yeah,
got like
I got one this
I got a
week,
thing
too.
like a invitation.
I got a friend request this week from him too.
I don't think he knows that this show exists,
We'll have to let him
so
know.
we have to leave his name on the show now.
Okay.
I actually just mailed him a letter. Like I found like a
Yeah.
little piece of paper with like his address on it.
Because he needs to
and
listen.
I was like,
That's right.
Is this still you? You know.
He wrote to somebody, is this still you? No,
Well,
it's not
I
me.
sent like
I
an
mean, that's
identity
okay, but-
verification form with it.
Right. Do you like me? Check box.
Well, sort of. It had some questions that only he would know.
Okay.
If one of us,
Where's the mole located?
where did you touch me?
What was I wearing that night? Anyway, so there's that sort of mutant, but and obviously with like the sort of 50 style radioactive mutant, anything's possible. You can either get giant, you can get small, like the Incredible Shrinking Man.
Right.
You can put a man and an aardvark in a room, irradiate them, and they merge or something. Anything was possible. You could
It's
say,
the
"Oh,
aardvark man."
radiation did it." Anything was possible. You could just
Or the like we were talking about that movie Prophecy, the
Yes.
Right,
the bear
right.
with no skin.
yeah. And
The,
that's
the
a
bear turned inside out, basically,
Yeah.
and then they were trying to
It's
save the...
No, it was mad because it's weird inside out cubs were killed or something. wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were being killed by the chemical company.
Yeah, but it was like it was an
the
Indian
environment-
reservation,
Yeah.
and the chemical company's dumping sludge into the water, and there's been some mysterious deaths, and then there's like the Indians are fighting the company about poisoning their land, but then there's like the prophecy about some spirit that's going to come and
Destroy,
destroy the evil people,
Right.
or something. But yeah, it winds up being this mutant bear with no skin and melty eyes, and
So the protagonists are taking the bear, like the little cub, and they're trying to, make it back to, like, to where they can, prove to everybody that they have, like, a living mutant bear in order to stop the corporation. But in the meantime, you also have, like, the mama bear, like, after the people.
yeah.
And after the, just after anybody, and
Oh.
tearing through the forest.
What
and it's
about
got the giant claws?
what about Humanoids from the Deep?
Oh, right.
That's good mutant stuff. Yeah, that's the chemical company. They spill the weird, like, it's some type of like growth enhancing hormone something.
Right.
And it spurs the fish into like this advanced evolution thing. It's working on the false premise that the goal of evolution is for everything to become bipedal. So as evolution accelerates, which is absurd because there's really no preset rate at which evolution occurs, so you can't. I don't. But anyway, as you accelerate, you develop legs and walk.
Then, of course, the
Yes.
only way to
So these
make
like
it to the top rung is to walk on two of those
yeah.
legs.
So these fish become like bipedal fish creatures, And then they actually they rampage through this sort of Pacific Northwest fishing town.
Right. It is up in like Washington.
Yeah, it's got Doug McClure in it. Great Doug McClure, best known from perhaps Land That Time Forgot.
Yeah.
But yeah, they mutate these fish into these things, and it's got a great scene in which they rape a girl on the beach, and then the big finale is she gives birth to the human fish hybrid.
Right.
It's really incredibly bloody, and the creatures are done by who is it? It's Rick Baker, actually. Uh-huh. It's Rick Baker's big breakthrough movie. They're actually not bad for rubber fishmen. I think it's probably the movie I think it's right before The Thing, actually. But yeah, that's good mutant stuff. Yeah, they're like fishmen that come out of the ocean because they make it down the river to the ocean. Right. And they're living on the coastal caves by the village, but they're like mutant fish people, and they come into town at night when it's cooler because they can't get out in the sun because they're slimy fish people, right? So they come in at night and they find like the weird slimy footprints around their houses at night, and they're like a couple of dogs go missing or something, and then eventually they grab some girl on the beach and take her into the cave and do it with her. Fishman rape.
I don't get it.
But yeah,
what are they doing?
They're
wrestling.
When one fishman, when a fish daddy loves a fish mommy.
Oh, okay.
They wrestle.
I get it now. They wrestle.
But see, the thing is about mutation.
Begin with the wrestling.
Are they dancing?
Mommy, are they fighting?
The thing about mutation is it's completely and totally random. If you introduce something in there, whether it's radiation or a chemical compound, that when you start altering DNA like that, and you do get mutate, anything's possible.
Yeah, look at the crew that one space shuttle. It was like one guy became like a Human Torch, and the other guy became like a big rock guy.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
and the one man and his wife just became like the ultimate sexual couple.
Well, that's because they were up there and they were trying to fix the tile. Remember, the tile broke, and they were up there, and I watched it on TV, and they were fixing the tile.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulled that like piece of paper or whatever out of the tile. I remember when they were doing that.
It was like somebody's business card.
Right. Somebody's business. They have something that they hid, like in there as a ha-ha joke from NASA. It was like, here's a piece of paper. You had to climb out of the shuttle to get it out.
Yeah.
And then the tile stopped working, and then when they went through the atmosphere, the cosmic rays like attacked them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And then one guy turned into the
I don't know why you don't hear about more of that on the news. It's like they cover it up or something.
They cover it.
Right. Well, then but the one girl turned invisible, so you couldn't even see her.
Yep.
And she was hot. Why would you make a girl like that invisible?
She still feels the same, in theory.
Wow.
I can't see.
Her and her husband can make a fortune in the porn world, man.
I'm trying to picture this, and I'm not getting a good.
All I'm seeing is
I can pretend. No, dude, that's not right.
But yeah, I mean, so when you mutation, like anything's possible, unless you can't predict it. You don't know where it's going.
Right.
So, like I said, and then what we were sort of headed towards, like the cannibalistic hillbilly mutants out in the middle of nowhere. When you've got an isolated population like that, and the mutation gets introduced into the breeding population, and then it's such an isolated population, you've got that sort of genetic isolation. It's just going to build.
Well, it either seems like that in
you pass on the trait gets passed on and on and on, and then the mutation no longer becomes becomes a dominant.
That's
gene.
what I mean. Like in a certain way, like the dominant gene has already set itself up, but the people realize through whether or not they have enough people, perhaps in order to propagate, they feel like that they need new blood, so they maybe set up a trap on the highway or something.
That's when
like
they go
that to trap a car.
They go kidnap co-eds and rape them in a cave somewhere.
Right, because co-eds are ripe for breeding mutants.
They're slow and stupid.
There would be no cannibalistic mutant movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Without co-eds, the whole genre of cannibalistic mutants would not be anything.
Right.
Spring break road trip.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean those movies need that sort of thing, but
Right.
And they don't really have to be like hillbilly inbred mutants. They could be like in the movie or the book, The Island. They could be island.
Yeah, it's just that sort of the isolation.
You know, they were all descendants from pirates from like the 1500s.
Right.
And they had interbred. There, I don't know how many there were.
And they had to bring in new blood.
Yeah, because they were sterile. They had. Well, I don't know if they were sterile, but they couldn't breed with each other anymore.
Right, because they were starting to become like, I think they did have some like kind of freak guys on, that they sort of had a different kind of cast maybe.
Speaking of which, that author,
he just
the
died,
guy who wrote Jaws,
he just died last week.
Peter Benchley?
Yep, like this week, I think.
Last week.
Was he killed by a giant octopus or something?
Wow.
No, it was pirates.
Oh, okay.
Pirates killed Peter Benchley? Oh, wow.
It was one pirate and one shark.
I do know that Peter Benchley felt really bad about writing Jaws when he saw the effects of what happened to sharks in a PR sort of way, because they were being hunted down and killed for really no reason at all. And he was like he felt to like demonize an animal that didn't deserve it. And like, because people were killing great whites when they saw them, rather than letting them go because they didn't want to be bothered with. It's not like they're evil fish or anything like that. And, he felt bad about it.
Yeah, the island is that sort of genetic isolation.
Sure, and it's on.
And in that will produce mutation in its own right. You don't need radiation and
or mountains
or yeah.
No, we're talking about the 1970s movie The Island, not the recent Michael Bay
But
tour de force of a movie.
Oh, that was kind of a rip-off of Logan's Run, really.
Well, it was like any other movie where you have it was kind of more of a rip-off of the movie Coma, where they had like people, harvesting organs and that kind of thing. And I haven't seen it, I'll admit it, but it's a Michael Bay, and I can't really stomach.
Yeah, it's guaranteed to suck.
Sure.
Well, but
it's going to be lots of
Johansson in it.
Lots of explosions, lots of explosions.
Lots of stuff exploding. But true.
And a car chase, definitely some kind of chase of some sort. It'll be wrongly done. We're going to take this break for our station identification, and we'll be right back after these messages. And now, Destructomundo presents Badly Translated Spam Poetry by James. Untitled by Cole Akins. Sammy Kitakayushu Eli Quotient Haste. Scare Scrutable Plaything Wibble Phalanx. Rack Abscisse A Libsyn Mural. Journeyman Ferromagnet Sniff Muff Mummy Infirm. Cummings Argalicious Vigilant and Blazing Bernard. Whirlpool Gone Macaulay Werther. Hope Assyria Fast Dudable. Crescendo Smyrna Alsatian. Velour Confirmation Phenome. Deducible Anglo Circumcircle Panoply Effluent Mercy Epileptic. That's all for this week. Join us again for another session of Badly Translated Spam Poetry.
Have you ever wondered what is the connection between science fiction and philosophy? Do you ever wonder, am I really just a battery in a machine? What is a worldview anyway? Are my memories really real? Can I have free will if the pre-crime, pre-cogs know the future? If you answered yes, no, or maybe to any of the previous questions, then the Sci-Fi Show is for you. The show that deals with those interesting questions about life, the universe, and everything, as found in science fiction. And no, the answer is not always 42. The Sci-Fi Show, a 20-minute fortnightly podcast, putting the philosophy back in sci-fi. For more information, go to thescifishow.blogspot.com, and that's phi with a PH.
This podcast is proudly listed at podcastpickle.com.
Okay, we're back.
In black.
Sorry. I'm not going to sing the guitar riff.
Right.
Excellent.
Well, there's all kinds of like mutants that you can consider for, being, the type of mutants that isolate themselves away from everybody else, and that they're basically at war, so to speak, with the rest of the world, or,
the normals,
outsiders, the normals, and things like that. There's the ones that
It's like those badger guys in Gamma World.
No.
Or the bunnies.
The bunnies with
the bunnies.
Well, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Can't leave them out.
Well, they fought for justice and
right.
blah, blah, blah.
And pizza.
But that's only because they had what's his name? Shredder. Mutant rat.
No, that was
No, Shredder was
Splinter.
the bad guy.
Splinter.
That's
Shredder
right.
was the bad guy.
God.
Oh, I can't believe I remember that.
We're gonna get email.
I had a flashback.
Well, before the cartoon, there was the comic book that was in black and white. So
you didn't know who was who in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Man, the 4-person arcade game was awesome.
Oh, yes. All the first-person or the 4-person arcade games were great. I mean, like Gauntlet,
Avengers.
Avengers was awesome.
Avengers, yeah.
Dude,
well, speaking of mutant video games, what was the the pistol game with the atomic mutants we used to play all the time?
Area 51?
Yeah.
Area 51's a great game.
And then was Space Gun. Well, Space Gun wasn't mutants, but...
Yeah, Area 51 was a great game. Sure, I mean, because you get attacked by,
When you're tired of playing the law enforcement pistol game, you can move over to the mutant pistol
In
game.
Space Gun, Space Gun was the variant that was a ripoff of Alien.
Yeah.
But it was fun. Or Aliens, because it was more action-oriented.
Yeah.
It was still fun. But yes, it's fun to kill mutants.
Well, and there's city-dwelling mutants, too, but they all live in the sewers.
Speaking of space mutants, there were the mutants on Mars with Total Recall.
Yeah, the midget with 3 boobs.
that was not... it's like a breast is like a martini. Like, one's not enough and 3 are too many. Although, man, that Tangle with a 3-breasted one, she could have been back, like
triple-breasted whore.
You got 3 tits, man. You can go anywhere you want, You don't have to be a hooker in a bar on Mars. You can be in porn in L.A. on Earth with that kind of racket.
The internet.
Yeah, the internet is your you own that shit. You got 3 boobs. I mean, think about it. You can,
provided they're symmetrical.
Well, I mean,
perhaps. If you had
not if like one's all kind of hanging
had a runt.
below the
Well, what if one's
2?
on your back and the other?
But if
what if you get a rack job and you just decide to make all 3 of them the same size and they're all pert, and they're right there?
Perhaps.
Or you can just pretend you're a mutant, Photoshop that shit, and just take pictures of yourself, and you go, "I'm the 3-boobed girl." Make a ton of money. I need to find somebody out there that's willing to put up with that junk.
Willing to become the 3-boobed girl,
right?
Well, there's a multiple-breasted dancer in Return of the Jedi, like in Jabba's palace. Wasn't there like a
yeah,
like a chick with like 6 tits?
Well,
I don't know if she had a bunch of boobs or if that was just her outfit. But she was
she's the same.
No, I'm not talking about the Jabba's dancers. I mean, it was like somebody who was dancing around in Jabba's palace. It wasn't the one that he fed to the Minoc or anything.
Okay. They asked her name in a call search.
The Rancor.
The Rancor.
What am I thinking of then?
I don't know. The Minocs are the ones that were chewing on the power cable.
Well, they're chewing on tits too, probably.
The Rancor
well, yeah, the monsters, whatever.
Nerd alert! Nerd alert!
I'm proud that I got them. Actually, I'm kind of proud that I got them mixed up.
Right. Hey, good for you. That's a good point.
I heard they made 3 more movies.
No, they didn't. That's bullshit.
Well, there was
a cartoon apparently on Cartoon Network.
There was a cartoon,
Droids.
and there
Clone
was
Wars,
Chewbacca Christmas special.
Yeah. Did you remember
Day.
They were some of them were on the Muppet Show. Yeah, that was the 3 movies.
Do you remember the spin-off, the sort of alternate there was the other Star Wars cartoon that was on like in the late 80s.
Droids.
Not droids. Droids. There was droids, but there was another one. There was another one on the late 80s that was actually, it didn't run very long, but it was actually cool. It was kind of the alternate stuff, but it was actually pretty good too.
I do remember the comic strip in the newspaper that didn't make any sense at all.
Right, all that stuff was terrible. Okay, back to subject. No more Star Wars.
Okay, we got to get to Chuds because somebody's going to bitch about it. Matt Loomis, if he ever listens to the show anymore, is going to bitch about us not talking about Chuds.
Chud, what created Chuds?
I don't know.
Is society?
It was nuclear waste that was poured in the sewers.
Right, it was all the stuff that they poured into
like
the
chemical
sewers.
waste and stuff that was like just dumped in the sewers.
They were homeless people that eat.
Yeah.
And because they were so hungry, they ate toxic waste?
Well, no, they lived there, and the toxic waste made them into Chuds. You know, they didn't eat it. They
and
were
eventually
like,
they came to the
sludge,
surface.
You know, of course not.
I was joking.
Looks like
but there was, it's...
Yeah, what's this glow-in-the-dark stuff? That must be
This
tasty.
is awesome.
Chud.
Okay.
And there is actually 2 Chud movies, I think.
Yeah.
Because
Chud 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yep.
I have not seen it.
No, I've not seen the
My mom
Chud
actually
that I can
rented it
remember.
like back in like 85 or something
Your
when it came
mom?
out. Yeah, because, I watched Chud and she's like, oh, well, he must want to watch the sequel to it.
You've got the best mom ever,
Chud 2, Bigger and Better.
Maxine is a wonderful woman. And the fact that she can go, my son really likes Chud. And then, like, rent him Chud 2 without him even have to, like, go, Mom, can I get Chud 2? See, no, that wouldn't have happened in my house.
See, Chud, they turned cannibalistic, obviously.
Yeah,
because it's right there in the title.
Right.
Yeah. Why do mutants want human flesh? Or just, is it that they just,
Humans are tasty, and they
just give up on the inhibition. Maybe we all secretly want to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you're living in the sewer, you get tired of a rodent.
Right.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, you can look, people.
Rats and cockroaches.
It's a trend. Humans, especially Americans, are at an all-time high for obesity. We're plumping up, man. We're some good eating for somebody who's looking after, I mean, you get the opportunity, you got a guy that's walking around, weighs, 225, that's solid, good flesh for the eating. And that you can...
If he's athletic, that'd be good eating. If he's just like
I don't know.
Not necessarily.
An office slob would be like kind of fatty.
But you don't want him too lean.
That's why we have like all the... That's why, we have veal. I mean, who's eating... It's just a big fat baby cow.
Human veal.
Fat baby
like
cow.
lock them up.
I mean, veal's not like out
feed 'em
on the
milk.
range.
Yeah.
No.
It's like, tender.
Well, I bet you, not that I really even know, 'cause it was just sad, but I bet like free-range cow is a lot better than the crap
I do know this much.
Well, game is different,
Free-range
so...
chicken eggs taste tons better than regular
I have to agree
chicken
with that.
eggs. They are good, man. They got,
the ones they harvest from wild chickens.
Right.
They're usually an off color and they're smaller too.
They're small.
Because they're not pumped full of hormones to produce eggs the size of your fist.
I have to agree with you. They're like full of flavor.
Yeah,
they
taste
game
like
is
eggs,
awesome.
More so
Venison
than
is great.
eggs.
Like wild game is awesome.
So we're humans game?
Yep. I like buffalo burgers.
Well, I guess if you got a track runner, he's probably more game than couch potato.
Yeah, but they'd be kind of sinewy, wouldn't they? I mean, tough muscle.
Well, I don't know. I've eaten like wild animals that run for, they run for a living.
Right.
Is he a marathon runner? Good. Marathon runner would be kind of stringy and
I've
tough.
eaten rabbit before, and rabbit tastes just like chicken no matter what it is.
A sprinter, he would be kind of...
Yeah, I guess if it... Yeah,
tasty.
Well, we have to do it we have to get a scientist on the show to tell us what the difference in taste of meat is between fast twitch and slow twitch muscle tissue.
A scientist?
That way we can find out if a bodybuilder is going to be more tasty than a marathon
they
runner.
use too many steroids.
Well, maybe a natural bodybuilder.
Okay.
Well, the way I figure it, maybe mutants figure that if they eat a person, they gain their, maybe...
Humanity?
Yeah, they... maybe come closer to...
Oh, jeez. If I was a mutant, I wouldn't want to be human.
Well,
it's like the joy of being a mutant.
Maybe they just feel a little self-conscious. I mean, your eyes all lower.
Well, no,
than
maybe
the other
maybe they just feel better than us. Isn't that what gives us the freedom to eat whatever the hell we want?
If I was 8 feet tall and had like, you know,
I mean,
big,
the average
eyes and an egg head and, you know, egg-shaped head and no hair and maybe a tuft of hair on the side of my head. And
like Sloth?
Like Sloth.
Right. Sloth. There's
hey,
another
guys.
one. Yeah.
Well, Adam's never seen Goonies.
Sloth love chunk. My only complaint about the Return of the King is the orc general. He looks like Sloth from the Goonies.
Right.
The kind of leprous guy with the melty eyeball. He looks like... I'm sitting there in the middle of Return of the King, and I'm in the theater. I'm going to go, Sloth love junk, because I know there's somebody that's going to get the joke.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway. But that's like my one complaint with that movie.
Well, they tortured him,
that's my one complaint with the whole trilogy. That's the one thing where I go, man, that guy just looks like Sloth from the Goonies. But yeah, he was a lovable mutant.
That and Joey Pants, like, you know, spent the money on his dentistry to buy this, you know, buy his toupee.
But
I don't wear a hairpiece.
Sloth is a lovable movie mutant.
Yep.
He's a kind and
He
gentle
likes
mutant.
Baby Ruth.
Yeah.
Ice cream.
But I think, you know, perhaps the cannibalism comes from, like, you know, they're mutated, they're different. You know, perhaps, like I said, perhaps they just feel superior. I mean, that's the average human feels to be the, you know, emperor of all they survey. That's what gives you the you know, the feeling that you can eat whatever the fuck you want. You know,
Right, top of the food chain.
yeah.
Might as
They're
well.
actually like I like the
Yeah.
Simpsons diagram where we're the center of the food chain. Like everything goes towards us. Like there's the squirrel here with the arrow, and you know everything's. We're at the center of it all.
That actually does make sense, because when you're a mutant and you're eating other humans, what you're doing is you're basically proving your dominance.
Or it's
over
like, see,
what
you know,
is generally considered the top of the food chain.
They're no longer. It's not like they're eating another human. They're something different and beyond, and perhaps superior, but certainly different. So they're not. It's not even like, you know, me eating a person. It's like me eating some animal.
Well, yeah,
you
but
know?
you're eating what's considered to be the top of the food chain. You know, so you're
Like a lion.
well. I mean, but
Lion.
Lions and penguins.
yeah, you're there at the top, and you're
Lion.
eating what can eat
Lunch and
anything
dinner.
else it wants to eat. Lion eating. Tasty.
Especially when you stalk and kill it with a knife.
Yes.
Front seat joke.
Right.
Or a hungamunga.
Oh man,
Yeah.
We'll talk about more of that on the knife show.
the knife show.
Knives of the Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Edged weapons, but
Melee weapons of the
15 minutes on the pole arm, at least. So I mean, yeah, but I guess, you know, in today's world, obviously, with all of obviously you've got the legacy of the nuclear age.
right.
The radiation's out there. You've got all this toxic crap we're dumping into the oceans. It's getting into the groundwater. It's in the air. I guess like a thing I was talking about with the polar bears. You know, something gets it out of the water. It gets into that animal. Something eats that animal. Then something eats that animal. Then, of course, we eat it. Eventually, we eat everything.
Right.
We eat something that eats something.
Well, the Japanese eat it. You know, they get the mercury fish. And
So, you know,
like
mutation, the possibility's there, the potential's there, because there's all this. Like I said, there's whether it's the radiation or pollution, probably more so pollution than radiation. You know, it's there. Next 100 years, man, it you know, there's no limit to the possibility of freaky shit that could happen.
sure.
And it could be happening. There could be some.
Oh,
and,
I have
you
no
know,
doubt that there's mutations going on right now in isolated places where
Siberia.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
is there like secret mutant squad that?
That's where like most of the touched forest is in the entire world's in Siberia, and that's where, you know, gulags, nuclear like Russian atomic tests.
right. People sticking people out in the, you know, wilderness, and
You never know.
you know, they find a way to survive, and that's the thing. Life finds a way, right?
I was watching a show today. It was like they were talking about dangerous jobs, and it was like a Chinese fire jumper, like the parachutists.
Chinese fire jumpers?
They was jumping into a
Jesus
forest fire in
Christ.
Siberia, and I was thinking, why bother jumping into a forest fire in
Chinese
Siberia?
Chinese fire jumper.
Yeah,
You jump out of a balloon?
a biplane.
A biplane.
Oh, fucking out.
I'm not shitting you. He jumped out of a biplane into a forest fire in Siberia, and I'm thinking,
pretty much any dangerous job.
Why
if you tack on the Chinese version of it, it's going to be so much more incredibly
why
dangerous.
bother trying to put out a forest fire in Siberia?
I don't know.
Because it's going to burn down the gulag.
But
he did jump out of a biplane
all the way across Russia,
which was impressive that the Chinese military still has biplanes.
Cool.
Hey, that's kick.
Man, they got 2 wings.
One on top of the other. They might have a triplane like the Red Baron, too.
It's the North Korean Air Force's primary transport plane. It's those old Russian-style biplane.
Really? Like yaks and things like that?
They kind of look like an old they look like that German version of the Ford
That's exactly what it
Tri-Motor.
was. That's exactly. I know what you're talking about. That's exactly the plane this guy jumped out.
No, it's a Junkers.
Yeah, the Junkers.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Russia had
Iron
a version.
Annie, right?
Yeah.
Iron Annie. Yeah,
Russia had a version, and then of course, since Russia had a version, the Chinese.
It's
had
like a
version.
small cargo plane, but it's a biplane.
It's like a DC-3, but it's a biplane.
Yeah.
And then China sold their version, so it's like a copy of a copy of a copy.
It's a closed cockpit version of it.
Yeah.
Okay, because I got the picture of the old school biplane, the guy standing on the wing and jumping off.
No, the Junkers
and probably I bet mutants probably fly biplanes.
Yeah. If they got
they're
a
backwards,
Right.
They're just like
the mutant
flower off subject.
crossbows, mutants, biplanes.
Yeah. No, but I think, like I said, the thing I was mentioning with the polar bears, that's a relative. It's a low key thing. It's significant,
right? Well, it's a lot like the bear issue with prophecy.
It's not as dramatic as something like prophecy or Chud.
No,
but the potential's there, and we're
Well, there's also the frog issue they were having for finding a lot of mutated frogs.
Yeah, frogs with 15, 16, 18 legs. Amphibians, by the nature of their physiology.
18-leg frogs?
Yeah, freaky things.
Amphibians, because
I know they found the answer to the exploding frogs in Germany. I found.
No, they've been finding a lot of frogs in
crows.
Yeah.
What?
They would just go for the liver.
They were like birds. A couple years ago, maybe last year, the year before that, they had exploding frogs.
The so-called pond of death, where they thought
the frogs were exploding.
Oh,
it was crows plucking out their livers.
Oh, okay.
And they were swollen up and exploding. It's weird, but
in biology, when they study ecosystems that are threatened,
I've seen multiple leg frogs, just not 18-leg frogs.
But they'll have legs that split into 2 legs, and each of those legs will split into 2. I mean, they'll fan out as they go. Amphibians are it's an indicator species. That's the term, because they're so sensitive.
That's why there's so many 2-headed salamanders.
Because
they absorb so much crap through their skin.
They're porous skin, so the stuff they can, that mammals and reptiles, and even fish and stuff can be in toxic water, but they don't absorb it directly.
Yeah.
But amphibians will do that, and so frogs, and then they have a fairly high reproductive rate, and they have so many offspring too.
Yeah, they lay thousands of eggs.
So it's in things like that, and they have those frogs that are just freaky as hell. They have so many legs and multiple eyes and all kinds of weird stuff. But like I said, all that stuff's there. All that pollution, all those weird chemicals that we're so carefree about throwing wherever, and let somebody 50 or 100 years from now deal with it.
Yep.
It's all there, and so,
watch out.
So, man, it's just a matter of time.
Yep.
Like I said, it all starts small. You're going to get little stuff here and there, but there's a tremendous potential over the next couple 100 years. There's serious mutant freak fest
especially with the waterways, the way we just pollute them.
Oh, absolutely.
If nothing else, in the paper making industry.
Yeah, and like I said, that stuff.
The heavy metals that come off of like some of the most everyday things,
that stuff.
Something as like unimportant really as paper. And they just create so many pollutants.
There's so many more efficient ways to make paper than wood too. So
but like I said, that stuff
right.
it gets into the ecosystem.
Hemp for the future,
or just recycle.
You know.
Even then, you're talking about bleaching. Things down to where they don't have print on them anymore, and those chemicals are toxic as well, and they get into the waterways eventually. So many things get into the water table.
Fluoride,
you could just
all the chiminess,
soak it in water though, and then eventually all that crap will just kind of it'll become a mush, and then you got the mush and make new paper.
Yeah,
that's really simple, but no, it has to be recycled right away.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry.
Well, they don't want it into the landfills where it'll end up just taking up space. But it is, biodegradable because it's, made of wood. But and then
they wrap it in like plastic bags, so you have the plastic bags have to break down before the wood, the paper. Sorry.
Yeah.
So at least,
but we didn't touch so much on the nuclear mutants. As much, especially those like in The Hills Have Eyes,
Well, then at least the new Hills Have Eyes.
Well, I don't know. Did the old Hills Have Eyes? Weren't they nuke mutants?
Like I said,
I think they were just hillbillies. They were nuclear mutants.
I saw it years ago, but
right.
I mean, I honestly, I don't think nuclear mutants are too likely.
No, I guess not. I mean but then you have like your...
there's probably some out there.
Well, the nuclear mutants would be the descendant of people who were living in an area. They wouldn't be like, he was living in this area and they tested
exactly.
nuclear bomb.
I mean,
it would be like the descendants of that person.
Yeah, which is,
like,
they're kind of getting stuff like that around like Chernobyl now.
Yeah.
Right. They have that whole area of Chernobyl like where it's a no man's land. They have the sign set up. But then I saw something that was like a guy it was a girl and her father went through there and took a bunch of pictures of like the interior of Chernobyl, like all the businesses and things like that, and the buildings and the site where it happened. And they brought themselves like miniature Geiger counters with them so they could actually tell how many rads they were taking and things like that. And they were able to go through like the town without like getting sick. But there were people that lived there. Like that still kind of used it as more or less like a camp out spot. Like they would raid other places and then go there. They were basically thieves and criminals, but they lived in Chernobyl. So because they knew nobody would go there hunting them down, and they didn't have.
So they were just squatting,
basically. Living like Because
I've seen the pictures I've seen of Chernobyl have just been. It's just like it's desolated.
Right. I mean, there's nothing there anymore, but it's because everybody pulled out.
But there's a significant number of people who are effectively squatters, like who are within, I guess, what's sort of the hot zone or whatever the term is, stuff that's still not officially safe to be living in.
Yeah.
There's people, and there's some people that like they left when they were forced to evacuate. And then when it was over, they went right back because it's like, well, this is where I live, and this is where I've always lived, and they, so who knows what, if those people start passing stuff on, man.
Yeah.
They said it's just,
or if they're mutated now. I mean, is it?
But I mean, obviously, one individual has to suffer some sort of genetic damage. In some way,
pass on that trait,
and then they have to, because like he was saying, like you don't get zapped with something and then mutate into something.
What about those guys in the space shuttle?
No, I mean it's in theory that's what cancer is,
right?
Like your cells are reproducing incorrectly,
right?
Yeah,
you could get,
Well, they have that like cell that's a part of a tumor that they extracted from a woman in the 50s. And a cell has a normal clock cycle of life. Like it doesn't just die because of old age. It like literally dies because there's a chemical released when it's supposed to die, in order to make way for a new cell to be born. Well, this cell doesn't produce that chemical, and what I'm simplifying this, probably egregiously, but like this cell is alive in a petri dish, and it's been alive since the 50s when they've taken it out of this woman's tumor, and it's still alive. And a lot of people say that this may be like it's in a rampant form right now with cancer, but controlled. That this may be like the answer to immortality, essentially to make your cells stop aging, to stop dying, so you would essentially live forever because everything in your body would not, know when to shut down and turn off.
Yeah. Well, cancer. In regards to cancer, they started doing a study. Most studies are like, why do people get cancer? And then they maybe last year before last, they actually were like, well, hey, rethink it. Why don't certain people get cancer? Like the people who smoke all their life and never get cancer.
Right.
They started studying people like that, and they're like, these people have these antibodies or something, and that carcinogen just never takes place or never takes hold or something.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing study. They haven't released anything yet, but
it's obvious that not everybody that smokes cigarettes will eventually develop cancer, or else, nobody would have ever made it past, they would have gone, whoa, wait a second, because, it's about a quarter of the population now, I think, is the people that, get cancer from smoking, that actually get lung cancer. I'm not sure of those figures, I'm guessing here, but I don't, it's not close to 50% or anything like that. It's below 25, but it's a significant amount, and is the number one killer basically of pretty much human beings right now. I mean, we're striving towards things that could take care of cancer. Only specific types, there's the sharks. Sharks can't get cancer. And they've done cell research to basically take shark DNA and see what they can do with that, to see if there's any way to make,
shoot it into people.
Well, wait, did you guys see the glow-in-the-dark pig?
Yes.
The whole thing with the pig, they made the glow. They took the cells from the, or they took the DNA from the jellyfish.
Yeah. Where do they make the glow-in-the-dark pig?
I think it was in Taiwan, yeah.
You think we can get some bacon from that?
They said that all the internal organs were green as well.
I'm just trying to think of things we can trade for stuff to listeners.
Can you imagine?
We need to get some Inabiscuit products from Australia.
That's
so
right.
We're willing to trade some
our friend
Thundar.
Dr. Australia.
Is he a criminal mastermind now?
A criminal mastermind. Dr. Australia.
He's got the entire Inabiscuit food pyramid.
He's our number one champion of the great continent of Australia.
So we're gonna trade some stuff for the Inabiscuits. So you just gotta send them over.
Has offered to trade us all the Inabiscuit products for.
Wasn't one of them Dixie's drumstick Inabiscuit?
For cartoon goods.
Now, why in the hell isn't the Dixie drumstick Inabiscuit available at least in the South of America?
Right. None of those products except for the chicken.
Well, I'm just saying, along with that line, maybe we can get some of the glow-in-the-dark bacon for something.
Glow-in-the-dark bacon in a biscuit?
No. Just some bacon from, wherever the glow-in-the-dark pig is.
That's what I thought, because he said in that article, the glow-in-the-dark pigs, they said it's because it's in the DNA in every single cell in the pig.
Let's get some. I want
every part of the pig.
Glow-in-the-dark bacon.
We'll
trade.
I envision.
Would it glow in the dark once you fried it?
When you made sausage from it.
Bioluminescent. I envision bioluminescent sausage.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Don't you? I mean, hey.
I'm just saying
that way I could cook the sausage in the dark.
We should at least just we should just offer it up. We need some stuff.
Right.
But see that kind of stuff. You get messing around with glow-in-the-dark pigs. Who knows where that's going to go?
Right. I know we do have at least one listener in Taiwan also. So, if you live
But
near...
he's probably not in the bioengineering field.
All I'm saying is, man, you live in a...
The pig can't be hard to find. It's a glow-in-the-dark pig.
Go out at night and find one of them pigs.
Stab the motherfucker and
We're
give
just
us some
saying,
bacon.
go down, Google that shit, find out where it's done, maybe go check it out, see how viable it is to maybe squeeze a pig out,
Cut the bacon part off?
Cut the bacon part off.
Yeah.
Send it to us.
There's like the bacon pod that grows out the side of the pig.
Just email us at destructomundo@gmail.com. And if you have any glow-in-the-dark bacon to send us, we'll send you the address where to send it to. Yeah. And for Dr. Australia, totally, we're gonna hook you up.
We need everything
but
the
work international
we don't want the Vegemite in the
agreement.
biscuit. You
Nope.
can speak the Vegemite?
Yes, he does.
Oh,
okay, everything.
we need all.
We need it all. And we wait for the endangered marsupial in a biscuit.
Wombat in a biscuit.
Yeah.
Wombat in a biscuit?
Well, he was saying
koala in a biscuit.
Koala in a biscuit.
Well, he was saying that the
numbat in a
endangered
biscuit,
marsupial in a biscuit,
quoll in a biscuit,
hard to export.
wallaby in a biscuit,
Wallaby in a biscuit. Red kangaroo in a biscuit.
Potteroo in a biscuit.
Platypus in a biscuit.
Well, that's a monotreme.
Yeah,
not a marsupial. But still.
Yeah, but
I'm
platypus
serious.
in a biscuit, man. You can't go.
I just want to try
that.
the burger and the bacon.
I want the bacon, but anyway, it's all good.
Right.
I'll try everything but the bacon.
I just thought we should get that, get that guy at least a plug before we get, we gotta, before the show's over, we have to plug
Kroger
it,
brand snack and
for
cheese.
what?
I just wanted to plug it before we're running out of time.
The in a biscuit brand goodness that we don't have access to.
We need it, and we're gonna.
Damn you, Nabisco.
Yep.
It is Nabisco, right? Am I damning the right people?
Did you notice
our good friend Down Under?
It was Nabisco,
Dr. Down
craft brand Vegemite in a biscuit.
What?
It was craft brand Vegemite in a biscuit.
Well, Vegemite is a
at least they don't make
concoction.
Bovril in a biscuit. Bovril, all that. It's a meat paste that they eat over. They actually used to put it in beer. Ugh.
It's
like the weird, all the Canadian listeners.
Vegemite, it's nasty.
Well, what's the British one? Marmite.
Who
Marmite's that's the British one, isn't it?
Right, I'm thinking of Bovril, which is like a meat paste.
Oh.
Well, British got some weird stuff too.
Marmite's
and the Canadians throw
they have those
clamato
things
in
that
their beer.
they put over their tea. Like the little digestive crackers. Have you ever seen those
digestive
things?
biscuits? Yeah,
digestive biscuits.
They're just cookies.
Yeah, but that's a gnarly name for food.
I know.
I'd like a digestive biscuit. It digests on the outside. If you touch it, it's like the fly. Melt your hand.
I think it's just they're very fibrous. That's why they're called digestive
in order to
biscuits.
eat it and suck it up through a straw.
Trust me, they make you shit.
This is how brundlefly eat.
See, there's a great case of mutation.
Hey, that's right. We can't end the show without a discussion of the finest mutation.
It's certainly one of the
place.
most graphically depicted in film.
Sure, which is that of brundlefly, the fly.
Sure.
Especially,
Is that really a mutation, though?
Well, it was in the fact that he mutated himself through...
He got a fusion of
the
DNA.
fly and human DNA, and then made him into brundlefly, Which
Instead
is
of just switching heads and appendages like in the original.
Right. Yeah, you give one fly arm and a
fly
head.
Well, they never really showed what happened to the actual fly. Like... There should be
it had his head on it.
There should be
in the original movie.
Well, in the original movie, yes, they did. But in
the new one they fused.
They fused, okay.
Yeah, like he and the fly become one.
His DNA actually becomes like human fly DNA hybrid, and makes him.
That'd be like a great Kafka-esque little story about what happens to the fly part.
the fly's consciousness within him.
The fly attains consciousness, and he's like, "Oh, what am I?"
And there's a fly going, "I'm suddenly bigger, but I can't fly."
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that. But that's certainly one of the most graphic depictions.
I hope that's not my phone calling you.
No, well, it might be.
That's a very.
Now we're gonna be like daily source code.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh, that's awful. We're doing the Adam Curry thing, and an asshole answers his phone on the podcast.
No, it's just my phone randomly calls Adam sometimes.
You did twice last Sunday.
Oh, your phone called his phone?
Yeah.
Oh, you should have answered it.
Your phone is in love with his phone.
Well, Adam Curry does that crap. He'll be on the podcast getting stoned. That's what Adam Curry does. I can't believe this guy's like the head of the podcasting community. It's insane. I hated him when he was on, like... I absolutely couldn't stand him when he was on MTV. When he was doing the Headbangers Ball. I mean, that's just insane.
I don't remember Adam Curry doing...
Adam Curry.
I don't remember him doing Headbangers Ball.
Yeah, he did Headbangers Ball when it first came on.
Pre-Ricky Rockman?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It sucked.
Okay.
Yeah, it was absolutely awful. He didn't know what the fuck he was doing. He didn't have a clue. They put him on because he had long hair.
Sure.
You know, and then, you know, but yeah, on his show, he comes on and like somebody will call him and he'll talk to them on the phone. He'll be like, yeah, I'm doing the podcast. You know, and it's just stupid. But we won't do that here. And we're going to go ahead and close the show out because Ted can't get his headset on.
There we go.
All right,
that was great.
Man.
All that clickety clack
mutant. Are you friendly?
Take off, eh? Yeah, all that noise was not a thunderstorm.
Well,
that was Ted fighting his headset.
Just, you know,
with Adam's suggestion of Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis, we actually do have a theme song for the end of the show.
from home movies.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Brendan
That's
Small's greatest hits.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna put it on the show. And man, Brendan Small, if you're listening to the show, God, I don't know why he would, but if you do, please don't sue us, man. We love you, dude. You're awesome. And there's no way that we.
Oh shit, he puts that stuff on his website for free.
Yeah, hopefully he won't sue us because we're not doing this for money. We're doing it because we love it. Isn't that right?
I'm doing it for the chicks.
Right. Well, I love the chicks.
Okay.
Chicks.
You should have been here for the early episode.
Right. Okay. Well, from James
and Ted
and Adam.
That's all you're getting, fuckers.
Yeah, I guess he's right. Okay, this has been Destructomundo. Good night.
He is Franz Kafka. Franz Kafka. Be careful if you get him pissed. Franz Kafka. He'll smite you with metaphor fists. Right now he can. He's just a man. A warrior of words taking a stand. He grew up very poor. His feelings to the core. Born in 1883, died in 1924. He is Franz Kafka.
I'm a lonely German. I'm only German from Prague. I wonder what I'll write about. I think I'll write about bugs. Kafka. Kafka. Kafka.
Living like a bug ain't easy. My old clothes don't seem to fit me. I got little tiny bug feet. I don't really know what bugs eat. Don't want no one stepping on me. Now I'm sympathizing with fleas. Living like a bug ain't easy. Living like a bug ain't easy.
Hey, you made it through the whole show. Thanks for listening. Destructomundo can be found on the web at www.destructomundo.com, and you can reach us by email at destructomundo@gmail.com. send us any questions or comments you might have about the show. Thank you again for listening.